Well, hi, my name is Andrew Rice. Um, I started doing triathlons in 2022. Uh, this is my fourth year doing them now, and I'm actually signed up for my first half Ironman for next year. So, goals that I'm working towards. Um, I started this because in 2020, I lost a family member. I went to their house every day after work for a week, and over the course of a week just watched them slowly degrade, and they became a shell of themselves. And this was on my mom's side of the family, and I saw my mom and her sisters really struggling with dealing with that loss because it was their older sister. And I she had a lot of health issues that she struggled with and was not very good with maintaining, a weight or healthy diet. And, she overcame a lot of previous medical things where we didn't think she was going to be making it. But with this one, it was one too many. And so I saw the struggle and the toll it took on my mom and her sisters to watch that. And I told myself I wasn't going to put my family through that with myself. I've been kind of overweight for most of my life. You know, I'm tall and kind of broad, but I do have excess weight on me. So in 2021, I chose to try the route of doing an online fitness program with a coach, and worked great for the duration of doing that. But once the program was over and I had hit the goal that I wanted, went back to all the same bad habits and gained everything back. So by about Thanksgiving of 21, I told myself, like, all right, I'm going to I have a week until my birthday is usually about a week after Thanksgiving. And it's like, all right, you have until your birthday to choose a physical challenge for 2022. And it was either going to be a Spartan race, a Tough Mudder, or a triathlon. So, I started Google searching and made a list of like 15 different races that were all going to be happening, and, kind of judge them based on cost, distance, and what it would take to really prepare for them. So ended up choosing triathlon because the place was the closest to me, and I somewhat knew the location. So I stupidly said, "Oh, I've been to that park before. I can easily do a triathlon there, having never done a triathlon before." And basically just assumed that because I know how to swim and I've ridden a bike before and I know how to run, oh, it'll be easy. I don't really need to train super hard for it. And walked into that first sprint triathlon completely over my head for what I was signing up for. Um, so it took me over 2 hours, 21 minutes, and some odd seconds to finish what
Now,
a
how long did
sprint.
you have to prepare for this one?
Uh, so I signed up in December, and it was in July. And I really just didn't train at all for it. I kept saying I was going to, and then I just didn't. Um, kept telling myself, oh, I know how to do all three of those things. It's not going to be an issue. So I bought a mountain bike off of Facebook Marketplace. Don't buy a mountain bike for a triathlon. That's the wrong kind of bike. Uh, and I went for it. Took me way longer than I was hoping for when I first got there, and my anxiety went over the edge, but I still completed it. So I was not entirely happy because of the time that it took me, and I kind of went and talked to some friends the next day, and was like, I feel like I could have done better. I should have trained. I could have trained more for it. And it's like, I'm going to go back next year. Same race, same course, and I'm going for a better time. I want to be under 2 hours, which, people who say they want to cut like a few minutes out of their run time for like marathons and stuff like that, cutting even a minute out of your time is impressive. Cutting 21 minutes out of your time for a triathlon, which involves multiple time things, it's not impossible, but it is not was not going to be easy, and I was warned by a lot of people that it was not going to be an easy job. So in 23, I bought an Amazon road bike. I never recommend anyone to ever buy an Amazon road bike.
A lot of mistakes that this is how it is with every sport. You make mistakes and you learn.
Yep. So I trained better, and I got an actual coach that somebody I had met through the first triathlon. Um, I went to KU and met this guy at the triathlon because it was in Shawnee Mission. And he apparently had started a triathlon club at KU, which I'm jealous of because I wish I had been there when I was there. Um, and through that, I like got in touch with him through his Instagram, and one of his friends was doing half Ironman, and he shared that his friend had crossed the finish line. So I went on his page and was like, "Hey man, that's awesome! Congratulations!" He reached back out to me, say thanks, and we got talking, and he became my coach for the last like 3 months leading up to the sprint try. And with him helping, writing me workouts every 2 weeks, um, I completed my second sprint triathlon with a goal of just getting under 2 hours. So even a 1:59:59, that's what I was aiming for. I I even exceeded that. I cut 32 minutes out of my time. I finished with a 1:49 something.
That's awesome. Now, were you dialed in with his training plan, or if you saw something today and you're like, yeah, I don't really want to do it, you didn't do it, or
I was not as strict following his training plan, but especially the bike. The bike has been my biggest struggle since starting this, and it continues to be my biggest struggle even now. Is just the bike. So last year in 2024, after I finished the second sprint, coach reached out to me. He's like, "So, what are you gonna do next?" And there is a distance up from the sprint, and that's the Olympic distance,
so what are
which is
the distances for the sprint versus the Olympics and the next one after that, if you want to talk about that a little bit?
so a sprint triathlon is generally, and it varies based on the course that you're at, but generally it's 500-meter swim, 9 to 13 mile bike ride, and then a 5K run is a sprint. An Olympic distance is a 1,500-meter swim, 24 to 30 mile bike ride, and then a 10K run. So I had to triple my swim, triple my bike, and double my run for the
How'd
Olympic
you feel about
distance.
that?
I was terrified at the prospect of that, but my coach that I still had at that time, he was like, "Well, I think you should start in November, and we will train through the winter. And I feel that by the time you cross the finish line, you will do amazing for that." So from November to May, because the first Olympic I did was in May. Um, from November to May, he would send me a training guide every 2 weeks, And I all winter long I was in the gym. I used the stationary bike. I would do the treadmill and I would swim. The swim is my strength. I don't even need too much practice with the swim and I'll do just fine. Um, the bike again is just my was my struggle, and my downfall was that I spent all my time on the stationary and I didn't go out on my actual bike. Now this was still the Amazon bike. So I took that for my first Olympic distance, thinking that's all I gotta do. It's gonna be good. And it took me, I think it took me um, 4.5 hours to finish, which very much displeased me when it happened because I was hoping like at least three. Did
Yeah,
not
I
get
know how
that.
that goes. You train and train and train, and then you do not get the goal you want. It's a bummer. However, it definitely lights a fire under you.
Oh yeah, it did. Um, but we found that like the struggle that I had with that the most was I didn't spend any time training on my actual bike, and I had never been on that course before, so I had no idea how the hills were going to be, all the turns. There was a lot of roundabout, and then go back and then turn this way. So I had signed up for two Olympic distance for 24. The first one was in May. The second one was back at Shawnee Mission in July. And Shawnee Mission is always a little bit longer on their bike course because it's a loop. So it's a 4.5 mile loop. So whatever course you choose to do determines the number of loops you have to do. So sprint was 9, so 2 laps. And Olympic distance is 27, so 6 laps. Um, so I got there for Shawnee Mission in July, and I had my bike. I had finally gone and bought an actual road bike from somebody my size, and I had gone to a bike shop and been sized properly, so I knew what kind of frame to look for, and not just, oh well, this person, it says it's an XL frame. That's good. That'll work for me. I'm a tall guy. So I finally got an official sizing from a bike shop, so I knew what size frame to look for. And we got there, and they gave us the okay. Well, if you guys want to start swimming from the dock over to the starting line at the beach, it's fine to warm up. So I get in the water and go over. It's a very short little swim from the dock to the beach. By the time I get up out of the water, they're all yelling at us to get out of the water because lightning had started striking. So there was a good dozen or so of us stuck on the beach with nowhere to go as it's starting to drizzle and there's lightning going on in the sky. And we got delayed by about an hour just standing there on the beach because we couldn't get back in the water to go back. And it would be a much longer roundabout walk, and all of us were barefoot. So we sat there and waited, and they ended up canceling our bike portion on us because of the storms and the roads were wet. So it went from swim bike run to swim run. And because of the heat advisory, they had reduced the distance that we were going to do in the first place. So I didn't even get to swim the full 1,500-meter distance or run the full 10K. So I felt kind of cheated because that was my last race for the year last year. And I was like, I don't even know if this counts as a completion because I swam and then I ran. I was like, it just didn't feel like a completion. And after that, I ended up, I had somebody recommend, it's like, well, if you want to get better at your run and pacing, um, I signed up for the Garmin um, last year I did the 10K distance, but they have a full marathon, half marathon, 10K, and 5K. So I was like, well, a 10K would be a good thing to do just to get used to it. And took me like an hour and 6 minutes to do, which I was really happy for because from July to October I really hadn't done anything, and so with little to no preparation, that was a good pace for me to be under. And I finished that, and somebody that I knew here in Kansas City had done the full marathon, and he was telling me, he's like, well, I know if you felt you did good on that, then your next step up from a 10K is a half marathon. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I started getting plantar fasciitis in my feet, and it was bothering me. And I just kept telling him, I don't know if I can do that distance right now. And he just pretty much responded with, I'm hearing excuses. I'm not hearing one good reason why you can't try.
How'd you feel about that?
Oh, I felt very called out from that. So I signed up. I did my first half marathon in November of last year, and overall goal was, under 3 hours. And I got there honestly feeling not bad. Um, and I actually kept up with one of the pacing groups with the pacer for about 7 miles into that run. And I figured it's like I still got 6 more miles to go. I'm going to pull back a little bit and slow down and save some for the remaining 6 miles. Well, my body is not used to, you know, running for 13 miles or straight 7 miles. And so when I slow down, my body's like, oh, okay, so we're recovering now. And that just kind of became my downfall during that. Um, every time I'd start trying to jog again, something would cramp up. So I'd have to stop and stretch and try again, and something else would cramp.
Mm.
I hit mile 13. I turned the corner. The finish line is right there. I can see it. I tried taking off, and both my legs locked up on me. I crossed that finish line in tears because it hurt. Every step towards that finish line hurt. So this year it was, goal of, get the do better at both my Olympic distance triathlons, which I didn't. Oh, I did better, but I didn't get a better time. My time definitely was not better, but I felt more prepared for it, even though I didn't prepare the best for it. I tried to follow the old training guide from the year before, and again, only in the last like 2 months leading up to that did I finally get out on my actual bike. Again, being called out by the same guy that called me out on doing the half marathon. He's like, well, I want you to meet me here at this place, and we're just going to go ride the bike. And it's about a 15-mile road down. So got it
So
good.
after your Olympic distance this year, and then you did the half marathon, what was your final decision where you were like, you know what, we're just gonna go for a half Ironman? What was your determining factor with that?
I I'm on a lot of people's social medias, and I follow a lot of guys. Some of them local, others never met before, um, and I've kind of been inspired by people doing Ironmans for the longest time, and originally said that was the goal I wanted to get to. The idea of trying to do that right now absolutely terrifies me. I'm still not even sure I'm prepared for a half Ironman at this point. Um, but it's just something that I wanted to test myself to see that that's something I could do. And when I would talk with friends about it, everyone that I talked to has been nothing but encouraging towards it. And every other triathlete that I talked to has been, instead of saying, "Oh, that's going to be rough. I don't know if you're ready." They asked me which one. I say I'm looking at the idea of going for a half Ironman. Oh, well, which one? And then they tell me about the ones that they've done and how it went for them. And I'm still not sure I'm fully ready for this, but I still have until June to get ready. Um, but I'm also excited for just to see what it is I'm really capable of doing.
Yeah, I love that. Um, Personally, even like a 70.3 is scary to me. And I am honestly just the more that we talk and I see you training and busting your butt, I absolutely love it. Um, and now, before you even started any of this, were you kind of athletic at all? Were you into fitness at all, or you just said you saw everything happen
Yeah,
with your aunt and you were like, I'm gonna make a change, and you took a step forward and just
yeah.
consistency, consistency,
I
consistency.
I did some sports like in high school and college, but never consistent. Like I tried swimming my senior year of high school and I fell in love with swimming. Like it is by far out of any kind of thing I've done, swimming is my favorite. And it's one of the few places where I can truly go in and clear my head while getting a good workout in. I wrestled my junior year, but I really wasn't a fan of it, and I would not go back to it. And then I tried rowing for about a year and a half while I was in college. And whew, you want to talk about some rough workouts? Rowers aren't don't go easy on anybody, and especially if you're in a boat with more than just yourself. If you aren't pulling your weight, your boat's not moving, not the way that you wanted it to, and you get called out fast when if you're the person. You get called out very fast if you're the person kind of holding the team back.
That makes sense. Yeah, rowers are crazy. If you had someone that was watching this and they wanted to sign up for their first race or triathlon, they're like you are, and they watch a lot of like influencers, but they just say, "Yeah, I'm not a swimmer." What advice would you give them?
I would say start small. If you're interested in doing that, there's a million um, different types of information, lots of help that you can get online. You can find basic training guides. You can talk to people who have done them. You can always, like, I message out to so many people weekly and probably too much for some people. I'm sure you can attest to that at times, Austin. Um,
No, no, you're good, dude.
but honestly, I would just say if that's a goal that you're wanting to work towards, find a race. Give yourself enough time to like. Don't suddenly say I'm gonna with absolutely no training or preparation. I'm gonna do a half marathon tomorrow. Find a race that you can take time to start building yourself up and do it slowly, because if you try to suddenly rush and you know the joke around triathletes is why be bad at one sport when you can be bad at three, is a saying I've heard so many times, but it's also true. If you're jumping into it and you're just you know oh, okay, well, my distance is this for the race, so that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going in and swimming that distance, bike that distance, and run that distance every day. Yeah, you'll get something out of it, but you also won't really grow too much because you didn't build a foundation for yourself. And every coach that I've dealt with in my past has that's been every training plan you ever get, you spend at least a month just building. You want to build your base on what you have, whether you're swimming, whether you're biking, whether you're running. You have to find your starting point. And if you're going to sign up for a race, I think that's amazing to anyone who wants to do it. And I fully encourage you to. It is expensive. It is ridiculously expensive to do any sport nowadays. You will be spending a lot of money on everything. But if you find that that's something you're wanting to do, I 100% think you should go for it. Find a race that gives you enough time to get a base started for yourself. Give yourself at least 3 to 4 months to start working towards it, and then take your time and build your base up for a month, and then try going a little faster. you know for every kind of training, you need fast workouts, slow workouts, and recovery workouts, because otherwise you aren't gaining anything.
I love that, and I agree with you. Um, you start and you should build your foundation, like you said, and then you eventually do learn, like, okay, I need this fast workout, I need my recovery workout, and also, like you said, you can find a lot of this information for free online. There's tons of great resources out there, where people on YouTube, for example, can go ahead and just tell you a video, or yeah, they have videos basically just explaining all of this. Now, would it be okay if people watching this, if they reach out to you at all for advice?
Of course, I have nothing against that.
Awesome.
And
I just wanted to make
honestly,
sure.
yeah, when I first started, I have kind of a binder full of just multiple packets where it'd be, a 6 week training guide, 18-week training guide, 12-week training guide. You know, at one point I had um, a guideline that was called "From Couch to Ironman in 1 Year," and while that is insane,
Very
it
insane.
it is there. Still terrifies me that I'm signed up for it. Um, but the book I'm currently using is called 40 Week Ironman. So it helps build you up from starting week one, you know, easy little bike ride, easy little run, easy little swim, and then some body weight workouts, mostly all legs. Um, so much legs. But, you build up, and each week you're building up a little bit more. Always give yourself like a day or two to rest, and you know watch how you're eating, which, trust me, I fully say nutrition has been my struggle, because I work out and stay active about 6 or 7 days a week depending on what kind of training I'm doing. If you're not eating well for it, it's not doing you any good, because your nutrition matters. If you're eating too little and working out too much, you're burning more than you're taking in, and you're going to burn out fast. But if you're overeating and you're not working out enough, you're not going to lose anything, you're going to gain. Now, I know this is peak bulk season for a lot of people. Be careful on that bulk.
Definitely, definitely. And like something I like for like endurance athletes especially is eat to perform. I feel like way too many people, or too many times people get lost in like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight and they're not eating enough carbs, for example, but yet they need the carbs to fuel them for a 6 mile run.
Yep.
But I did also just want to say thank you for coming on here. I usually keep these around 30 minutes, and I love how you told your story, and I really think that God's going to put this in front of someone that just has that edge when they're sitting on the edge and they're thinking, I want to do it, but I'm not too sure. But they hear a story like yours of someone who is maybe a little active, but not like a super big athlete who actually took the step forward and is now signing up for their or signed up already signed up for their half Ironman and making that giant leap. That is just incredible and something that very few people have ever completed. And honestly, I'm rooting for you. I can't wait to see it, man. um,
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. We'll have to do
You've been
something
a huge,
similar afterwards.
you've been a huge supporter of mine, honestly, since I started this journey. And I think that's about 2002 was I think about the time that you and I started getting in touch with each other. And you've been kind of with me throughout this whole journey. So, and you've been nothing but supportive. So I
I'm
really
glad,
appreciate you.
of course. And same way back, like there definitely have my days where you've definitely helped me. It's a two-way street.
I know you got to go real quick, but so one funny thing is when I did the half marathon in October, this last October, so I was wearing your TOP shirt, the blue with the blue logo. I was not aware of this fact, but apparently somebody took a picture of me from behind because that logo kept helped them keep going. And she even texted it to her husband saying, I wanted to quit so many times, but I kept seeing this shirt and it kept me going. And I actually ran into the husband without him knowing who I was or him seeing the shirt. I ended up talking to him, and then as I turned to leave, he saw it. And he's like, "Oh, dude, I have to show you this." Shows me that his wife took a picture of me and was telling me, how she wanted to quit so much, but that shirt was what kept her going. And I had a lot of people throughout the run just they're like, "I love your shirt. I love that message."
I love that. That is awesome. And I think a lot of times, like with people that wear like top fitness stuff outside, that they'll eventually look up the company, see what we represent, and will just also plant that seed in them.
I definitely promote to my gym. I've definitely given out samples of several of the things to people around the gym, and I've given them the website, the code, and my discount code for whatever. I don't know if any of them ever actually do buy anything or not. It's I've given them the tools if they want it. Um, Definitely found my preference for like certain flavors. I am excited to try that. I'm excited to try that cherry pop.
So good.
But
Well, I appreciate everything that you do.
I appreciate you being there and helping out and just being that support that I need a lot.
Of course. Would it be cool if I ended in prayer?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Dear Jesus, we come to you, and I just want to thank you for today and all the blessings that you give us. I just want to thank you for Andrew and his life, and I just want you to watch over him and just continue to show him who you are and just be with him on his journey. And I know it's going to be hard. I know he's going to go through tough times, but let Andrew just know that you're in charge and he can trust your plan. And we love you and we thank you so much for all that you do. And let us glorify you in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Man. All
All right,
right. Well,
brother.
I'll
You
talk
have a
to you
great
later.
night.
You too.
I appreciate you. See ya.
See ya.